Hey, what is up guys? Masterleaf here, back to do another video, and I'm going to probably put two games in this video. I've had two pretty awesome games versus Bar Jones in the past stream of mine, so I'm going to highlight these particular two. You'll be playing as the Reaper 17 in this first game on Toxicity. Now, I could genuinely post a bunch of compilation of games. I've streamed quite a bit in recent times. If you want, you can follow me on my Twitch channel to stay notified when I go live on there. But for my YouTube, I often post the highlights and, you know, the games that I consider to be noteworthy. And this is one of them. So I'm curious to see what you guys think of these two games here. So I'm going to be playing as the Reaper 17, which I consider to be one of the better factions in the game now, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think Reaper 17, people have a very neutral opinion on them. They don't like Traveler or Skrin being the best in the game. Understandably so, because they do have those support powers that everybody does not like, such as the Wormhole and Phase. But good news regarding Phase, the infinite EMP whilst phased bug has been fixed. That is no longer a thing. And Stasis Shield. To be honest, you'll see in the next game why that is also a little better as well. At least for the caster. Marked Kane for Bart Jones in this game. There is a defensive tower in the middle of this map. This is what I consider to be Desolated Trooper's best made map. Kind of reminds me of Tournament Decision in the northern section. I think the terrain is identical. He's used the same textures. That guy has brilliant texturing skills, and if you guys have ever used Command & Conquer 3 World Builder, you'll know just how tedious it is to texture just like this. It is definitely a skill. He's come a long way in map making. I may not agree with a lot of the layout decisions he makes, but when it comes to aesthetics and texturing, definitely one of the best map makers of all time, I would say. He's up there with Predator as far as I'm concerned now, or even Technique. Technique didn't have the best texturing skills, but he knew what a good map layout was, and he knew clutter was a bad thing on maps. He tended to stick towards maps that didn't focus too much on choke points and narrow passages everywhere. He made his maps mostly flat, and I like that design feature of his maps. Works very well in Kane's Wrath and Command & Conquer 3 because the pathing in these games, not the best. And when this game has emphasis on mass tanks, it's best to make maps with a lot of flat open space. That's not to say that close quarters and things like urban combat can't work well. I mean, look at Small Town USA. That's a really liked map. But the difference is you can destroy those structures and clear them out. They serve a gameplay purpose. And fun fact, all Skrin units deal 200% damage to civilian structures. That's not only in this patch, it's in the game, in the vanilla game as well. It's just the advantage of Skrin. They don't have the ability to put shock troopers nor Ravagers inside of garrisons, so they put instead a damage scaler on all Skrin units to kill structures like those bunkers way faster. Doing a timing push in this game, Technique once told me this is exactly what Dynamic used to do. Technically it's on 3 refineries, not sure if I did the same on 3 refineries, but it's 2 ore factories, bunch of Seekers, 4 or 5 dev tanks with some descents, and then you get the attenuated force fields and push out with a stasis shield. It is a timing push, it works incredibly well on Tournament Arena, and I feel like this is also a map that mimics Tournament Arena, oddly enough. Could be the rush distance. There is a blue Tiberian field to gather in the middle of the map, which is also handy for charging my dev tanks up too. So there's the stasis shield. And you may copy this build order that I'm doing here, guys. It's a very effective one against nod factions. As long as the map is similar to this one. But really, for the most part, this is solid on most maps. So I'm pushing in here. I'm contemplating using this stasis shield on his army. Instead, I'm going to go into his Tiberium field and try and pick off those harvesters. I'm going to wait for him to bunch up together, but instead I opted to stasis that tier 3 just to cancel his Tiberium chemical plant so he does not Tiberium vein me. Did I say does not Tiberium vein me? Because that's exactly what just happened there. So sadly for me, I made a mistake. I did not anticipate that he had that out. That was a mistake. I literally just lost my whole army and stasis tier 3 for nothing. So yeah, that was not good. Lost all of the army. Not much really well for him. I'm going to put down my tier 3 now. I've got a growth stimulator, but that's not going to make up for the huge losses I suffered. One click coming down on my extractor, but I've fortunately built another one because I built a foundry, which is the name of the Skrin Crane. Seekers, I don't have to point out the obvious, but they do shoot aircraft as well. That's why they're not amazing versus vehicles, because they are also anti-aircraft units. But they're not that great in that role. But they can deal with threats such as Venoms and Vertigos even if you purchase the Shard Launcher upgrade, which is what I'm doing here. Now, one advantage of Skrin, their units don't take as long to produce because they don't have that door opening animation on their war factories like GDI and Nods do. So units just pop out straight away from that warp sphere, and that's what allows you to recover your army quickly. Instead of going in one big push like I did before, I'm going to split up my forces and have multiple attack groups. This will force my opponent to position more forces than what he would otherwise need to be putting there to defend that location. And I can maybe find an opening somewhere. Whilst this is happening, I am purchasing the Shard Launcher upgrade, but I'm a few seconds away from that being completed. Going to put down my second refinery, so that crane really did accelerate my recovery after losing that army. And now the Shard Launcher upgrade has completed. The thing about Major Kane is I don't have devastator warships, so sieging a Nod player's base is very difficult. So what I advise to do at this point is to use and recycle those Tiberium spawning powers whenever you can. Reaper 17 do get the growth stimulators as well, which provide you with passive income. It's actually $15 every 5 seconds to be precise. If you've got 4 or 5 of those, then that's like having 2 tip spikes under your control, which is a very decent advantage. Vertigo bombers here. Gonna snipe those down. They did take a lot of damage, but sadly they will be going down there to those Seekers with the Shard Launchers. They detect stealth as well in a pretty large radius. And I know this time he won't have a narrative vein. Whilst this is happening, I'm purchasing the Blue Shards upgrade because while I'm not making any Shard Walkers nor Ravagers, wouldn't really make sense to make Ravagers against Mark Kane, I'm building them to put in my Eradicate Hexbot because one of the features of 1.02 Plus, I added Blue Shard capabilities to the Hexbot. So when you put these Ravagers inside the Hex, once that Blue Shard upgrade has been purchased, the Hexbot will also shoot blue shards, and provides a huge increase to DPS. Now, it is still gun damage, which is one of the many types of damage there are in this game, but that means that it still won't do a lot of damage to units such as epics that withstand gun damage, but it's still a sizable increase in damage and can even be good against vehicles. It also shoots whilst on the move, like the Disintegrator Squad. Has more range too. I'm queuing some Corruptors to go along with this Eradicator Hex, and these Seekers are finishing off this force. I'm going to take out these avatars one by one. Vertigo's bombing Seekers, something you rarely see. These Harvesters of mine have a lot of health as Reaper 17. They've got more health compared to the Skrin or Traveler ones. A strange move by EA. I didn't change it. I kept that as it was, but yeah, the base health of the Harvester of Reaper 17 is more than the other Skrin factions. That's another advantage of picking Reaper 17, but of course you don't get the teleporting Eradicator Hex pod, nor do you get Devastator Warships or Planetary Assault Carriers, which are very helpful when sieging an enemy base. For sieging bases, really all I have is tripods, which I'm starting to build now. There's a Redeemer there. And here's the trouble with Reaper 17. I've expended all my Seekers, and now I've only got tripods. I can only build tripods at this point. But there is one thing that you can do, guys, and that is build a secondary drone platform. And that provides you with several advantages. If you push in to your opponent's base with a second drone platform, you'll be able to double drop base defenses. Say if you are against an unscouted infantry transition, you can start spamming buzzer hives. You can place storm columns down. And most of all, when you lose your tripods, you can put a portal right on the front line and reclaim your tripods back. There we see a Redeemer. Rage gen goes up because, of course, if he didn't do that, the tripod would have moved in and impeded it. Enlightened coming in for him. That Corruptor does get taken down. I don't have much anti-infantry there. The only anti-infantry is that Eradicator, which can get EMP'd very quickly. I'm going to summon in the reconstruction drones just to make it live a little longer. I wasted my phase field on the Harvester. That was a mistake. And here we see the drone platform moving in. These Venoms here getting taken down by those Seekers. Every kill for me is generating funds. Look at this income of mine, Reaper 17. How insane levels of eco, but this Eradicated Hexball is getting low on health. These Enlightened are continuously locking it down. And I don't have anything against those Enlightened, but I do have this drone platform still alive, and I managed to get one EMP off on that Redeemer. Redeemer taking damage. Storm Column as well going to be helpful in lowering the health bar of this epic unit. And there it falls. And despite all these tripods going down, he needs to sack more forces if he wants to take out the Husk. Because much like Juggernauts and GDI, you can just put down a barracks and reclaim the Husk. And I can double drop those buzzer hives. So this is a learning lesson to you guys when you're playing. Never push without your MCV. I recommend building a second MCV so you can place a base defense right away when you unpack your MCV near your opponent's base. But it just provides you with a base of operations to attack your opponent from. And as you see, I don't need Devastator Warships in this fight. My Eradicated Hexbot has been rebuilt. This is what you should do as Reaper 17 because you don't have those Devastators once again. And these tripods are going to move into this base. Now, one thing about tripods, they can shoot using all three lasers if they are surrounded by targets. Usually you see only 2 of the 3 tentacles of the tripod shoot, but all 3 can indeed shoot if it is surrounded 360 degrees by enemy units or structures. So they are very good for just walking into your opponent's base on aggressive stance. They will use that additional laser, and that provides them with 50% more damage. So they're technically 50% better against structures if you get them in the midst of your opponent's base, because that third laser will come online. And I'm doing all this damage to him here, taking out his infrastructure, isolating him to just the bottom corner. And once that base has been taken out, I use my phase field, this time not wasting it. And Bart Jones will have no choice but to surrender here upon seeing this Eradicate Hexbot in the base. I'm going to start spamming Seekers to detect the Harvesters. That's going to be GG. So that's game number 1, and I want to go quickly to game number 2 because that is also equally awesome, and I can't wait to show you all that one. Before then though, let's take a look at the stats screen so you guys can get a glimpse of the economy, because I feel like I don't want to omit these things. So units wise we were pretty even. And I had a small buffer the whole game due to the abilities of Reaper 17, the Icor Seed, the Growth Stimulators, and the Eradicate Hexbot providing me with resources for every kill. So yeah guys, let's go on to game number 2. Alright guys, I'm back to do game number 2, which takes us to Sick City. It's going to be Skrin versus, I'm sorry to say, Traveler 59. Probably the worst matchup in the game. I don't think there's a close second. This is it guys. It's going to be Skrin versus Traveler. Even Reaper 17 have a better time because once you get that blue shard upgrade, Shardwalkers then one-shot kill cultists. For the regular Gunwalker, it takes 3 shots. Yes, I did technically unnerf the cultists versus Gunwalkers and Shardwalkers. That was predominantly to make Trav mirrors a little bit better. And I felt like it was a bit unfair at the time. It didn't make much sense to me. There is still a damage bonus against cultists, but the main reasoning behind the change was the cultists got a 10% speed nerf along with all the other Travian, because I reverted Advanced Articulators to patch 1.01 stats, which coincidentally makes them 10% slower than 1.02. Felt like it would have been too much of a nerf, and cultists already were underperforming in Skrin mirrors with the faster cultist. So yeah, that is that. And I notice here these buzzers are healing very slowly. I think when more than one buzzer is being healed at a time, the War Factory heals a little slower, but that's not a big deal there. I'm gonna get some repairs nonetheless. I've got an alternate repair decal, as you see on my War Factory. I prefer this one a lot more. I like the glow that it has around it. So far, nothing out of the ordinary. I'm not being attacked from him by disintegrators. Desint rushing has fell out of fashion, surprisingly. But again, he didn't know I was Skrin. We're playing random mirrors. If he knew I was Skrin, I mean, to be honest, you have to be quite crazy to specifically pick Skrin into Traveler. But let's say if he did know I was Skrin, then it would make a lot of sense to open with those Desins. Equally, it's a good idea for the Skrin player to go for a Dev Core, especially on a small map like this. Dev Core against Traveler on small maps, very hard for Traveler to stop, guys. That is extremely difficult for them to stop. So while it's true, Traveler do destroy Skrin, Dev Core on certain maps tends to be the opposite story. You can go for Mecha All-In as well. That's another tactic you can employ against a Traveler player. What is a Mecha All-In leave? Well, it involves going for a tier 3 on one base and selling your drone platform. Before then though, you want to get a stasis chamber down, so you can use the stasis shield. It's a very powerful support power. I'm doing something here that some players have not done before, and that is fusing all of these Gunwalkers with buzzers from the early game. What advantage does this serve? Well, it makes the units harder to be captured. The cultists, the cursor to capture those units fused with buzzers is trickier, because there is a buzzer in the way. Practically, though, I don't think it makes much of a difference.
Construction complete.
And here's where I sell my drone platform. I'm going to use the $300 Tiberium Vibration Scan just so I can capture that spike. Yes, it is a bit lazy. I could have sent the assimilator there and then grabbed it, saved myself $300. Let's see how much that matters, but that is one potential refinement I could do. And I feel like that matters a lot. But yeah, the Mecha Beats are coming in. I got 3 out already. I'm going to stasis those 2 structures there. the stasis chamber and tier 2, which will prevent those cultists from coming out. And I've got several gunwalkers here as well. He doesn't have the option to build devour tanks, but he does have photon cannon defenses which do cannon damage, and those are very effective against Mechapedes if they get a direct shot on the head. And these Mechapedes are falling. This attack has not gone well for me. I did grab one of the tip spikes, and here's where a lot of players would think, yeah, I'm going to give up in this game. I'm going to say GG, but I didn't want to give this one up, so I'm going to continue fighting. I still have 4 of the 5 gunwalkers I made, which is miraculous, really. He must have been targeting the Mechapedes. He did a fantastic job of that. But I'm still spamming out Mechapedes. This cult is coming out here. And I've got these gunwalkers. I'm going to move the gunwalkers in. And this green tier field will be depleting soon for me. Lots of gunwalkers out for... but he's going to probably transition to tier 3 soon and seal this game. That's something that I would do. I'm floating a lot of resources. I've got 3 spikes, remember. He's only on the 1. I can take the blue Tiberium field by using the vibration scan ability again. And that will allow me to tell my harvesters to collect that tip without me actually scouting that area. Here's another tactic I employed. I'm going to use the phase field on these gunwalkers to try and crush the Mechapedes or frustrate the ability of him to capture my mechas. It will make him contemplate going back. Harvester goes down for him though. I'll take that. Every kill like that I will take. I see a Mechapede out from him, so I see he's not gone into mass cultists. Instead, he's gone for a tier 3, which isn't going to make life any easier for me. I'm going to use the Buzzer Storm support power here. He tries to teleport a unit that already had been killed. And my Buzzer Storm support power was used on that Prodigy, which is a good investment, good trade, a $1,500 Buzzer Storm, but the cooldown of that is way more than it takes to rebuild a Prodigy. So expect to see that a nuisance unit come out very soon. He's kept these wall of photon cannons around. No shard launchers upgraded for him just yet. I could have put the lightning spike down there just to draw in the fire from these photon cannons. But I'm getting some economic damage dealt on these harvesters. Some of these segments are equipped with the toxin segment, which will give the Mechapedes anti-structure capability. It's not a lot of DPS though. I never buffed it. I didn't feel like it needed buff. But that does make Mechapedes good against structures. And now it's about targeting his mecha heads. He's actually, instead of made cultists went for Mechapedes, he would have been better off building cultists. He's now decided to go back into them. I see the portal there. I'm going to target that down very quickly before he gets Cultist Squad out. Cultist Squad does come out though. Does grab a Mechapede, but not before going down very quickly. And now these Mechapedes are going to get some heals up near that Reconstruction Drone power, which I just summoned in. And here will be a good opportunity for me to start making gunwalkers again, because he's going to go for cultists. He can't win the mecha war now. He's using the temporal wormhole, and look how effective this support power is. That $1,500, now $1,500, it was $1,200 before. Still powerful, still amazing, and more than justifies the cost increase. Look at this, just one support power is shutting down my force of 5 Mechapedes, which would otherwise be all over him right now. Those Mechapedes causing so much problems. 2 of the 5 Mechapedes going down right away, and it's troubling for me getting out of this. Another cultist squad comes out. He's going to grab one of them. I'm going to go in for this cultist squad. Very difficult though. He's focusing down the head with my Mechapede while I'm trying to kill his cultists. I do save one of my Mechapedes. The reconstruction drones are still around for me. I can move that Mechapede with the wounded head near to those drones for repairs. Repair drones do fade away. Cultists do take another one of my Mechapedes, and I'm trying to kill them for the life of me. I want to micro my harvesters to take that Tiberium field on my expansion, but if I take my eyes off of this for 1 second, I'm going to lose the game, so I can't afford to do that. I need to try and win this at all costs. And I've got mechas ranked up here. I've got 3 veteran Mechapedes. That lightning spike still causing problems, probably putting chip damage on those harvesters, and I'm going to start using these Mechapedes to target this tier 3. If I can destroy that, that'll prevent any more tripods or storm columns from coming out. A Mechapede does fall. That leaves me with just the 3 mechas. I built another one. There's a mecha head there. That will probably be needed to be developed. I don't have the funds to develop those mecha pieces. It costs $100 per segment on those mechas. Now my harvesters have fortunately also rallied over to that green Tiberium field, but I wasn't paying attention there, and due to that I'm gonna have to sell this tier 3 because I need funds right away to develop those additional 2 mechas. So I sell the technology assembler. I'm gonna get some repairs near this warp sphere before I go out on the attack once more. He's got an expansion still with plenty of harvesters on it. Cultists now starting to be made in mass, but enough time has passed now for me to use the stasis shield once again. I do have a Buzzstorm power, so if I bring in all these resources, I can use all my support powers, and that will help me immensely in the fights ahead. Even a load of blue Tiberium going to come in very soon. I've got the infestation hive, but that only works on Tiberium fields. So now I'm going to move out. The reason I made the Gunwalkers was to just be a nuisance against the cultist squads. They're going to kill the cultists if they approach the mechas. That tripod is a problem, however. Getting healed up by several corruptors. That's a lot of cultists near that tripod. I was contemplating using the stasis shield there, but I want to try and separate them. So I can kill one, and then after the stasis has expired, kill the other. I don't want to stasis both of them at once. That wouldn't do it. This is a pretty frantic game. Trying to figure out when the best time to use the stasis shield would be, and here it is here. That will cancel a likely storm column that he had made. Prodigy as well. And he can't face the tripod, so the tripod does go down right away. Cultists coming in here, and because in R21 Mechabees no longer get stasis when moving into a stasis shield, I'm able to sweep around my own stasis and kill the cultist. That's what I was talking about in the first game with the stasis shield. That bug was fixed, and now I've got a heroic Mechapede. Look at that heroic Mechapede go. But against Traveler, all it takes is one cultist squad and I'll lose this game. If he takes that heroic Mechapede, he can kill my whole army. So I still need to be extra vigilant. I use the Buzzstorm support power as well. I see a portal right there. I need to take that out ASAP. But I've got enough forces surrounding that one portal to kill the cultist squad as it spawns. And I'm just going to clean up here. There's a power plant, and look at this Mechapede here with its heroic rank. That heroic icon I remade in the 4K mod is more crispy than it is otherwise. And I'm ecstatic that I won that game. I can't believe I won it, considering how badly the first engagements went. I was able to turn that around thanks to the mistakes of Bart Jones. But still, I didn't want to give up, and I was rewarded there with a win. So I hope you all enjoyed these 2 games, guys. I very much enjoyed playing them. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. And before I leave, I'd like to thank all my Patreon members for continuing to support my YouTube channel, the patches that I'm doing, the 4K mod as well. All this stuff wouldn't have been possible without your support. And it's a continued development. In the future, there will be more bug fixes to come. I'm probably not going to touch balance very much, but expect to see bug fixes in future R patches. Anyways, guys, this is going to be Master Leaf. Hope you all enjoyed it. Peace out.